Hello and welcome back to Bookish Reshuffle. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a sweeping historical fiction novel that blends personal discovery, political transformation, and the intimate search for identity. The book we're exploring follows a young man whose journey from his hometown in Nablus to the cities of France becomes a profound coming-of-age narrative. It's a story about crossing borders, literally, emotionally, and culturally, and about the deeply human desire to belong in a world rapidly changing around you. We begin in the early 1910s, at a moment when the Ottoman Empire is in its final years, and the world is teetering toward global conflict. Our protagonist grows up in a respected family and is sent abroad to study medicine in France. His departure becomes a symbolic leap from tradition into modernity. As he steps into Montpellier and later Paris, the atmosphere around him shifts dramatically. He is introduced to intellectual circles, Western philosophies, modern lifestyles, and the sense of freedom that comes from being far from home. This part of his story captures the classic emotional swirl of studying abroad, the exhilaration, the loneliness, the discovery of new ways of thinking, and the subtle but unmistakable transformation that takes place in a young mind navigating a foreign world. But it's not just cultural excitement. Almost immediately, he feels the friction of a cultural clash, his Palestinian upbringing meeting the expectations and assumptions of French society. Conversations, lectures, social gatherings, all of these environments test him, push him, stretch him. What he once took for granted begins to look unfamiliar. What he sees in France begins to complicate the way he sees himself. He isn't simply absorbing Western culture, he's wrestling with it, evaluating it, questioning it. This tension fuels the growing identity crisis at the heart of his journey. He is no longer just the young man who left home, but he is also not fully part of the world he has entered. And that suspended, in-between feeling becomes an emotional anchor throughout the story. As global events accelerate, the political landscape back home shifts as well. The First World War breaks out, the Ottoman Empire unravels, and the Middle East undergoes seismic changes. The narrative uses these historical shifts not as background noise, but as a force that shapes personal choices. Our protagonist becomes increasingly aware of the political turmoil affecting Palestine, the growing ideas around Arab nationalism, and the questions of colonial influence that will shape the next generation. His personal coming of age becomes inseparable from a larger story of national identity and the fight for political agency. This blending of personal and political history is one of the most powerful aspects of the novel, making it resonate deeply with fans of historical fiction rooted in real geopolitical complexity. Eventually, after years abroad, he returns home, but the home he returns to is no longer the same, and neither is he. This is one of the novel's most striking emotional arcs. He walks into the familiar streets of Nablus with a mind full of modern ideas, French habits, and memories that cannot be translated into his old world. His family and community see him differently now. He tries to reconnect, but something has shifted. It is the classic story of return, where memory and reality no longer align. The novel portrays this beautifully, revealing how studying abroad changes not just a person's ambitions, but their entire sense of identity. The return home becomes its own kind of exile. He is both insider and outsider, carrying the weight of experiences that have changed his worldview. Themes of belonging and alienation run through every part of his life. He longs for connection in France, yet remains an outsider. He longs for familiarity in Nablus, yet feels distanced. This dual tension creates a rich, layered portrait of a man trying to reconcile two selves, the version shaped by his homeland and the version shaped by his experiences abroad. The struggle between tradition and modernity defines many coming-of-age novels, but here it gains additional depth because of the novel's setting in Palestine during a period of major historical transformation. The mix of political awakening, cultural negotiation, and personal yearning makes his journey deeply relatable even today. Stylistically, the novel paints vivid scenes of both French cities and Middle Eastern landscapes, creating an immersive sense of place. The writing is detailed, atmospheric, and sensitive to internal emotion. It lingers on moments, allowing the reader to feel the texture of the world, the academic bustle of French universities, the crowded cafes, the quiet corners of Nablus, the tension of political conversations, the dust, the light, the architecture. It's not a fast-paced read, but rather a richly layered one, ideal for listeners who love character-driven historical fiction with depth and patience. What makes the book especially relevant today is how it reflects experiences that remain common across generations. Studying abroad, balancing multiple cultural identities, negotiating family expectations, and learning to see your homeland differently after living elsewhere. The protagonist's emotional and intellectual evolution mirrors what many people feel in a globalized world where movement, migration, and cultural exchange shape our lives. And the political dimensions, colonial legacy, nationalism, the aftershocks of empire, offer insight into regional histories that still influence current events. So, who is this book perfect for? If you enjoy sweeping historical journeys, quiet internal character development, and novels that explore identity, culture, and the impact of major historical events on personal lives, this one deserves a place on your reading list. It's ideal for readers who appreciate stories of cultural clash, identity crisis, and the emotional transformation that comes with being caught between two worlds. It also makes an excellent book club choice because of its rich themes and complex character dynamics. As we wrap up today's episode, I hope this deep dive has given you a thoughtful window into this powerful historical novel. It's a story that blends love, conflict, self-discovery, and history into one compelling narrative. If you enjoy immersive literary journeys that echo long after you close the book, this one is absolutely worth exploring. Thank you for joining me on Bookish Reshuffle. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to subscribe, share, or drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be back soon with another book to reshape your reading list, and until then, happy reading and keep reshuffling your shelves.